Hello and welcome to the Center for Victory podcast of Your Best Day Yet. My name is Zack DelTurco. I'm an executive consultant here. Today we have Eric Guy. Here at Center for Victory, we want to help unlock, reinforce, and enrich relationships through personal and professional development. Today we're going to be talking about part two of discretionary effort.
Yes, sir.
So let's jump right into it. What is DE or discretionary effort?
When we look at discretionary effort, we're talking about how that applies mostly in the business setting. I mean, it can apply elsewhere, but when we talk about discretionary effort, talent optimization, we're talking about the difference between want to and have to. Have to is when I come in, I'm just going through the motions. Those are the minimal requirements that people are doing. And we talk to a lot of business owners, a lot of managers and supervisors, and they're frustrated with the fact of, hey, look, these people are just coming in, they're doing the bare minimum. Is there a way to get them to do more? Because I have other people that are really just thriving and doing way above and beyond. And is there a formula for that? So want to is really, they're not working for a check, although we need checks, right? We need money to live, but that's not first and foremost in their mind. The other thing with discretionary effort, when you look at it, when people are engaged, they care about their customers. They care what their customers think. They understand that time is money. They're working more efficiently. They go the extra mile. But again, just to reinforce this, it doesn't happen by chance. There is a way that we can get there, but we have to be more intentional about it. It just doesn't happen like, well, hey, boom, here it is. There's a way to get there.
Yeah. So how would you say you can promote discretionary effort within your company?
Yeah, great question. 4 ways that we really talk about it. Job fit, and we'll jump down into each one. Job fit, manager, team dynamics, and culture. And one of the things that we do that's kind of our secret sauce is we help companies develop the behavioral requirements and the cognitive requirements for a role, whatever that role is, whatever company, doesn't matter what industry even. But if a person doesn't fit in that role, then you're kind of setting them up for failure. You're not going to get more effort because the effort they're putting in, if they don't fit, could be extra, but you're not seeing it because it's weighing them down. And they're not very engaged, so they'll just, if they have to, they'll just skate by because it's not a good fit. We want to make sure that first, that do we have the right person in the right seat, right? Going back to that book, Good to Great, right person, right role. Do we have them in the right role, right? That's the first. So we're matching up and we're aligning that person to the job role. Second one is really important, and we do so much training around it. As you know, we just got done doing a full week here within the company doing this. It's manager training. And a lot of times what we say is people don't quit their job, they quit their boss. One of the key critical pieces to having discretionary effort is having a good manager. Most of us just haven't had management skills or any kind of training. And when we look at the manager, is that manager giving that person what they need? So you have to manage the role. We talked about the job fit.
Yep.
Manage the person. If there's any gaps between how that person likes to behave in the role, that's where that manager comes in. But the best thing a manager can do is practice the platinum rule. Treat people the way they need to be treated for maximum productivity and efficiency. When you do that, very seldom do people leave. But the other thing is, if I'm getting what I need out of the environment, if I'm giving you what you need out of the environment, you're going to naturally want to do more. You're going to be more connected. You're going to feel more purposeful. And that's why we always say people don't quit their job, they quit their boss. And then the other two kind of tie in a little bit. You have the team dynamics, but I want to speak to culture because it's so important. The quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? It's important. When I have a culture that supports the person, the role, the manager, things are good. When you have a culture that's crummy, right, or the just not aligned with one another, do we understand what we're supposed to be doing? I know we were just with a company, you and I, and they're like, "Well, I don't think we know where we're going." So we're kind of helping them assess their strategy.
Yep.
Part of that strategy assessment that we're doing with them is, do you have the right people? And they said, well, no, but we don't know who the right people are. Okay, so get the job assessments, get those done, and then start matching up people. Second step is, well, do we have the right managers? Probably have the right managers, but the question then is, do they have the skill? Do they understand their people, and are they giving their people what they need? Because when that happens, that creates that culture of alignment, of clarity, and things like that. And when that happens, when there's a culture that's thriving, that's has a growth mindset, it can flourish. And when that happens, you get that extra mile, right? When people are in the right role, they're getting what they need. The nice thing about it is they probably reach out to their friends and who they know and bring those people into that same kind of atmosphere, into that same kind of climate. So that's how you would really tackle that discretionary effort. And the other thing is, just as a kind of a sidebar, is that reinforced? So all those things. And what I mean by that is the things that you're doing, your core values, do you reinforce them inside of that? Because that's really creating your culture, that's creating those team dynamics. And then going back to really treating people, that platinum rule, treating people the way they need to be treated. Do your people feel valued? And do you appreciate them? Do you create that positive reinforcement? Just saying, hey, good job. Like, I really like what you did on there. I think sometimes we take people for granted. I know I have in the past. And do you take time to put intention around your people strategy? I mean, a lot of companies, they know their business strategy, whether they write it on the back of a napkin or in a nice folder or whatever. They know what they want at the end of the year, but they don't take time to focus on that people strategy. So what I would say is, if you want to promote discretionary effort inside of your company, is take a look right now as we approach the new year. We're in the last quarter here, and think about the people strategy. Design the roles, take a look at them, and then start inspiring people, and then continue to diagnose that throughout the year.
That's good. So, say we're working with a company right now, what would be the first step that you would tell them to do in order to create discretionary effort within their company?
Big thing is to understand your why. I mean, give them the why, and not just once. I think a lot of leaders are guilty of just saying, hey, look, I know what it is. I said it once. Everybody should know it. It takes repetition, but understand the why. And I'll use another story of another person we were with, because we were talking about him. Somebody we admire. He's a CEO of a company, but we were talking about the stories, right? And how the stories attach to the why, the stories of the company. Sometimes we forget those when people have been there for years and years and years. And just remind people, like, here's the story, here's how it happened, right? This is why we do what we do. Yeah, the bottom dollar's great, making profits, great, but why do you come to work every day? Yeah. Because that's when people put in that extra effort. The other thing that you could do is provide them with the necessary tools, right? Our system, our software provides understanding of the job fit, understanding of the manager, the team dynamics, and the culture. But the biggest, the most important thing, if somebody were just doing it for the first time, and we hear this from so many of our clients, is be consistent, right? It can't be a fad. You can't just bring this in and say, hey, we're going to do this. Fun training. Found out how everybody was wired. We found out this and that. Yeah. And then you don't do anything with it. And we hear that from company after company. And the companies that have achieved the next level have been consistent. Yeah. They've put it in place. They've put the right tools in place. They've given them the why. And they're consistent with their training and reinforcement. So
as we kind of finish up with our time today, what are some bullet point takeaways that you would give somebody listening right now?
Just to go back to those 4 things, think about the job fit. Like, if you're an individual right now, listen to this. Am I in the right role? Right? If not, do something about it. Maybe meet with your manager. Meet with who's ever in charge, or maybe you're the manager. Am I in the right role? Do I have my right people in the right role? Figure that out. get under somebody that's going to really lead you, just not manage you all the time. And if you're that leader that's managing all the time, get some skills to be a better leader, and then look at what's happening with your team dynamics, and eventually how that's impacting your culture.
I think for me, my biggest takeaway, and it's this quote, it's that platinum rule: treat people the way they need, the word need,
absolutely,
to be treated for maximum productivity and efficiency.
Absolutely.
That's my biggest takeaway. Not what you want, but what they need.
Correct.
So thank you guys so much for listening to the Center for Victory podcast of Your Best Day Yet. We would love if you left a comment or gave us a like. Would also appreciate if you hit the subscribe button as well as a bell icon to get notified when we post next. If you'd like more information about what we do, you can go to centerforvictory.com, or you can give us a call at 724-462-8383. And remember, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing,
make this your best day yet.